The decomposed bodies of a woman and 2 children, including an infant, have been found near the Manipur-Assam border yesterday. According to officers, the bodies were found near the Jiri River, close to the interstate border. Sources now tell NewsX that 3 more bodies have been recovered today. The bodies are suspected to be those of the family that went missing from the Jiribam district on the 12th of November. The bodies recovered now were found 15 to 20 kilometers from the spot where the family of 6 were abducted. Meanwhile, autopsies of the 3 bodies found are being conducted in Assam's Silchar Medical Hospital and College, and not in fact in Imphal, as transportation via NH37 would pose major challenges. This development has sparked widespread protests in the Imphal Valley. Hundreds of people, mostly women, have now taken to the streets. The protesters have blocked the roads in the Kwakithel area in Imphal West, and demonstrations have also taken place in the Kwairambad market, which is the main market area. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Home Affairs has directed the security forces to restore peace and urge people to cooperate with them. The MHA has also informed that a team of important cases to handle the important cases must be developed, and it should be handed over to the NIA. All of this, of course, comes as Manipur has been witness to a spate of violence over the past many months. Earlier in Jiribam, a 31-year-old mother of 3 was charred to death after militants torched 17 houses in the Zaron village. This was followed by a 34-year-old woman farmer being gunned down while working in a paddy field at Bishnupur. But that's not all. Militants also targeted farmers in Sanasabi Lukol village in Imphal East. The BSF and the Mahar regiment were quick to come to the aid of the farmers. However, one army jawan was injured in the ensuing gunfire. My colleague Nibir Deka firstly joins us on the broadcast to take us through the latest updates that have come in. Nibir, we are now being told that 6 bodies have been found, but there is no certainty whether these are the bodies of the same family that went missing, which led to the latest set of protests in Manipur. What have you learned?
Well, the incident of the 6 abducted individuals from Jiribam has shocked the state, and the state is again boiling with tension and whatnot. We saw how the 3 bodies was recovered, which were sent to the Silchar Medical College in Assam for post-mortem and autopsy. Today there is another 3 bodies that have been recovered, and they are suspected to be from the same incident of the 6 abducted individuals. The official confirmation is not there yet, so it is not officially yet confirmed as to whether the bodies are linked to the 6 abducted individuals. However, there is suspicion high that these are the same bodies as per preliminary sources. The situation on ground in Manipur is very hostile, with extensive protests being seen in the Manipur Valley in Imphal, and the civil society organizations are demanding the release of these 6 abducted individuals over the last 3 days. And as the situation turns further hostile in the state, if you see in Jiribam over the last week or so, there has been a case of a lady charred to death, houses set ablaze in fire, 10 armed men claimed by the police as militants dead, and now the abduction of the 6 individuals has totally brought back Manipur to square one, wherein we saw violence of the highest magnitude being meted out among the communities, which is again back to the forefront. Back to you.
Okay, Nibir, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with those latest updates and developments. I want to open up this conversation. I have with us Major JKS Parihar, RBS Mani, Suhas Chakma, and we also have Dr. Bobo, who is spokesperson of the Delhi Meitei Coordination Committee. Let me begin this conversation with Dr. Bobo. Dr. Bobo, what is it that you are learning about what's going on? What exactly have the authorities now informed the people of Imphal on the bodies that have been recovered?
Good evening, and good evening to all the respected panelists today. It's a very shocking and to hear the news of this abducted those women and children, and It has never been happened like that before in the history of Manipur, and it is only see the 8-year-old this child, and after that there is also 8-month-old minor, and three of them has been killed, and they have said they have thrown into the river of Barak River in the of body together. They have found yesterday, and today they have said another three of them is found. The matter is that when you started to kill the minors and women and children, that means this is not a tension between any community. It is a terrorist act, and it is already against the humanity, and it is against the morality of minor children and a woman. And imagine that 10 of the militants, who is the terrorists who have shot dead by the CRPF, they come far from this Shushanpur. 9 of them are, that is already in the report, that 200 kilometers they travel to attack such a small village. That means their intention is to make this destabilization of the northeast regions and to so-call that Zalengam or that Kukiland to make it alive. Whenever there is violence, they start. They wanted to make the unity of this so-called Kukiland. So this is the responsible of the central government and the state government to ensure the safe.
Okay, Dr. Bobu, we seem to be losing that connection with you. I'll try to bring you back in the conversation. We also have Suhas Chakma with us. Mr. Chakma, as far as now the efforts of the government and the authorities are concerned, what would be your recommendation? Because of course, once again, and rightly so, people are back on the streets, people are protesting because there are no clear answers that are being given.
I think the recommendations have been made by different panelists in this channel as well as everywhere else, that there is a need for change in the administration. Because at the end of the day, you have people who are running the state who are seen not to be in control of the situation. Now, if somebody has not been able to bring the situation under control after 1.5 years, I think it's time for the central government or a particular political party, which is the BJP in this case, to review the situation and call for some sort of accountability. Because it's very clear, I'm not going to blame any side, but after 1.5 years, which started on 3rd May 2023, and we are already in November, so it's more than 1.5 years. So if still we continue with the same system, whether it's the government officials, including the security chief or the chief minister, I think there is something wrong with it, because this is a classic case of a civil war, which actually where nobody respects any, in wars, in any case, people do not follow the basic rules. So it's very heart-wrenching to hear, 6 persons of a family have been killed and executed, and of course the reaction was very, as expected, quite high. But I would say, I think this is the time. I think it's a major incident since, in the last couple of months. I think it's time for the central government to review the situation and change the entire apparatus. Whether it's the security forces, the chief minister, everybody else, I think they need to go, and something new needs to come up, which could possibly initiate some process, at least cessation of hostilities between the parties. And please remember, the armed groups are involved in it. So if we cannot reign over the armed groups, it's going to be very, very difficult. But that would require some, I think, out of box thinking, and I think it will require a new leadership, because this leadership which is there, both the police, the central security forces, which are operating under certain constraints and are not given full access, and the political leadership, they are not able to deliver the situation or to improve the situation.
Okay, Mr. Chakma, I will come back to you in a moment. RVS Mani, bringing you back. RVS Mani, as far as recommendations are then concerned, and as Mr. Chakma has also pointed out, several have been made in the past. Do you feel that somewhere the government is not doing its duty by in fact looking into what the N. Biren Singh administration is really doing on the ground, and whether they're being able to make any sort of breakthrough? Last year the same request was put up that there must be president's rule now imposed in Manipur, but it was brushed off by the current government. They said that the state government is cooperating, so there is no need for a president's rule. But why does the president's rule have to be based on whether the state government is cooperating or not? The point is that the state government under N. Biren Singh is not being able to come up with any sort of formula that is working out.
I entirely agree with you that state government may be cooperating with all its might, but it is not in control, and by virtue of that even the central seems to be losing the control. It is indeed, as Mr. Chakma said, it is indeed time for a resolute action. For 2 months, almost 15 to 16, 18 months have gone like this, with 1 step forward and 2 steps backward. 10 days back there was some attempts at disarming and all that. It was a good attempt, it was a positive sign. I thought it could be a turnaround point, but that is not. And now they are targeting children and civilians and youngsters and women, and all the normal household women are being targeted as per the incident in Jilbom and all that. So now it is, and very importantly, let me tell you, I had also forecast that this will spread over to neighboring countries like Mizoram and Nagaland, which are very, very vulnerable. And Mr. Chakma may be coming from Tripura also. Tripura is also not very far away. So that has to be kept in mind. A body of experts have to be formed and take control of it. The army should and the security forces should be shielded under the AFPSA, whether people like it or not. You cannot make them, and it is a security issue. First, let us assume it is no more an ethnic issue. It's a security issue. It's a neighboring state. You may do small requirements like FMR ban and all that. That doesn't seem to be suffice, and so much of money, drug money and arms coming in from across the border from different places, whether from the Arakan region of Myanmar or through the Tanzal region of Mizoram, same again from the Myanmar or wherever it is, we do not know. But it is a very, very vital thing. All these things have to be plugged. Number 2, resolute action. Number 3, hand it over to the security forces, bring in president rules, 6 months of clear hiatus that keep the president rule need not be a complete dismissal of the government. It can be there, but the government is kept in abeyance. They are made powerless and the central takes control of that type of arrangement. Bring in the security forces and a committee of experts who have done a lot of experience in Manipur state handling or northeast places. There are very, very good expert officers are there. Bring them in, let them handle it. The day-to-day and the security forces handle the security for. First secure the place, take control, consolidate, and thereafter we will talk of peace, we will bring them to the table. But first we are taking control of the entire situation now. It's absolutely high time we need to take control of the state. Just by the stump of its neck, we need to take control of it. This type of foreign aided militants cannot go on, and now they are targeting the civilians, not only civilian, innocent children and all that. This is absolutely not acceptable. We need to take a very resolute, not beyond resolute. It has to be extremely strict and counterproductive action. Just counter them. Consolidate, after counter them, take control and then consolidate for at least 2 to 3 months before we even talk of any peace. Let the human rights people keep on shouting about it. We do not care about it. It is Indian security which we are securing. It is Indian territory which we are securing, and that we know our interests. We know the human rights of our own citizens better than any foreign funded NGO. So let these factors be very clear about the mind. Take control of it, and then we will talk about everything, bring the Meiteis or Cookies or whomsoever, whatever groups are there, we will bring them to the table.
Yes.
Thank you.
Major J.K. Parihar, bring you into the conversation, sir. What does then taking control of Manipur really look like? Because like I said, is the government somewhere at the center feeling that if they were to impose president's rule and take charge, it would seem as a failure on their part to have not done it in the past? Because essentially what everyone's wondering is, why are you still so keen on letting N. Biren Singh continue as an administrator when over the past many months he's proven that he's not really a popular choice amongst the people, and the first thing that anybody says from Manipur, be it the Meiteis or the Kukis, they say that this man needs to go. Why is it that the government is not willing to look into that, and how does taking charge at this point really even work?
I would definitely would like to compliment my learned fellow panelists for giving so much insight and different options to handle with this situation. First of all, I would like to add on here that the president rule will not have any change in the scenario, because central government is providing security forces, armed forces, and government is led by in the center as well as in the state by the same political outfit. So it won't change it. First of all, if you have the presidential rule in any states, it means you are cutting down the representation of the people, and that is the biggest issue which comes, because the advisors they take, it means the administrators and the bureaucracies are running, and things will worsen if the president rule is there. We have to take this situation not as a problem of the Manipur or between the Kukis and Meiteis. It has to be considered as a largest problem, cropping up problem of the Northeast, because as everybody knows about it, that the Kukis, they are the largest tribals in the entire Northeast except in the Arunachal, and they are in the Bangladesh and Myanmar also. So major, if you want to make them a two divisions between Meiteis and Kukis, I think that will be disaster. And one thing has to be accepted by the central government, that they have to come out of the political unwillingness to get rid of this government. In any case, the Manipur requires this time a conscientious government, the so-called national government, where you have the participation from the all political parties and from the all ethnic groups of the Manipur. This is very, very important. I fully agree with my panelists about the overhauling of the administration, the bureaucracies, those who are there, they have to be changed. Regarding the security forces, they have the different type of spectrum to function. CRPF may be a good in the functioning in the different arena and in the anti-terrorist activities, insurgency operations in the J&K and other places. But to handle with this type of a situation, when you are dealing with your own people, I think that is a much different. Armed forces, yes, they have been handling these situations for decades, and some protection is required, but I would say the human rights has to be taken into the maximum weightage when you want to develop a peace and wide acceptance is concerned. Yes, since there is an international conspiracy, I can foresee from the Myanmar, the drug trafficking is there in the Kukis from the Myanmar, and the Bangladesh they can enter, and no wonder that our new friends and old enemies like China and Pakistan, they are pumping the fuel to this particular groups, and the change in the government in the Bangladesh is also there. So overall, we are in a volcano where it is today is the Manipur, tomorrow you may find the Mizoram and Nagaland, and other places are also cropping up with this problem. So overall, yes, we have to tighten up the security at the border, international border, to curb the all these drug trafficking and smuggling of the weapons, etc. But to handle these Kukis and Meiteis as a separate group, and one party is supporting the Kukis and other party is supporting the Meiteis in the national politics or in the regional politics, is a big disaster. We need it is not that you curb and restore the peace. You have to restore the borders, and then you develop peace by consensus and harmony amongst the people. Otherwise, this will be a largest problem, as it was highlighted by the Prime Minister of the Bangladesh, who has been thrown out, that there is a conspiracy to develop a separate nation like Timor in the northeast as a Kukis dominate or the Christian dominate area, which becomes the point. So that is my main concern.
Okay, but RVS Mani, bringing you back into the conversation, I want to understand from your perspective, how much damage has already now been done to Manipur as a society, to the people of Manipur, to the Kukis and Meiteis, who have had their historical clashes but continue to live together, when day after day reports come in which say Kuki insurgents have abducted these many people, bodies of Maitis have been found, bodies of Kukis have been found. Will the government then, if we keep sitting on this matter, will we ever be able to explain, oh no, actually the money is coming from China, or the money is coming from Myanmar, the drugs are coming and the weapons are coming from Myanmar? Do the people on the ground really care at the end of the day? Because they're saying then clearly you're not doing your job, you're allowing all of that to come in, and the cracks continue to deepen between the two communities, because clearly whenever, like I said, reports come out, they're very clearly labeled. As far as the latest protest is concerned, that's also over Kuki insurgents abducting 6 people from a Maiti family.
Let us get it very clear. As long as a resolute action is not initiated, then the government is looking like helpless spectators. This mistrust between the two communities will continue to be perpetuated, whether from internal politics or from sources outside the country, as my previous respected speaker had pointed out, whether it is our friends from Bangladesh, the new dispensation in Bangladesh, or wherever it is, or their new friends wherever they are, whether they are perpetuating it, they have a strategy in Northeast not being peaceful. That is one part of that. But the fundamental thing for that is to take control of the situation, and that taking control, whether, as I said, 356, whether through, you don't have to dismiss the government. You can have a government and still run the government through governor rule or president rule, and have participative national council, state executive councils, or there are other experienced civil servants and other people, human resources who have served in the Northeast, who have served in the Manipur. Take control of the situation. At the same time, there should be no lapse on infiltrations, on trafficking of drugs, arms, and even illegal currencies which are coming in, and trade in illegal non-currency trades which do happen, which are quite prominent in these type of nebulous situation. It is also in there where trading happens without the Indian currency. There are so many factors to it. So take control and consolidate the first before we talk of anything else. I said human rights, I am a human rights man, I have my highest respect for the dignity and the rights of the humans. But in such a situation, when one side is perpetuating, or whichever side is perpetuating, or both sides are perpetuating violence on each other, human rights do not have any beginning, because if the state doesn't enter, then they will be settling their violating their human rights between themselves. That should not happen. Wherever required, enter. The state should not bother about it. Human rights. India has faced these human rights, the myth of human rights violation in Kashmir, in Northeast, in the left-wing experience, and we have handled it very well. We know that our security forces do not cross the boundaries. They are always they work on a single command and they work on a policy environment. So this human rights cannot, which will simply enter, because, as I've already said, there is certain foreign input which are going to go. So their plan B will be to rake up human rights when the government takes. That's a very natural corollary of what we are happening. What I am saying is, the government takes control and takes resolute action, the same foreign hand will start sending human rights groups to denigrate the India, to denigrate the policy and all. So that is what we have to be very careful about. But do not bother for it. Human rights, our security forces, I have seen, I have in fact replied to Parliament questions also on this, placed facts before the Parliament that what they have construed, the UN OHR construes as a human right is not a human right violation. All these things we have found it was an essential crossfire between the militants and the security forces. That's are all generally brought out. This is the hype they make. And it is very strategically it is made through Pakistan, Chinese and all that. So we should not bother about it. I do not, as far as that part is concerned, I do not read the reports of the human rights groups, whether it is Amnesty or whatever it is. That is what we have to be
Okay,
very
all
clear
right.
about. Thank you.
Okay, I've run out of time, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us on the broadcast to take this very important conversation forward.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.